everyone, and we hope you all are fine and doing well with your family and friends in these tough times. My name is Dr. Jeevan, and I'm your host today for today's webinar. On behalf of Vets in Poultry team, I would like to welcome you all for webinar 3.0. So during this webinar, I would like to encourage you to ask questions in our Q&A section to your favorite speaker. Also, you can vote your favorite question so that those questions will rise up in the ladder. Today's webinar is very unique because there are no presentations and it will be conducted in an interactive mode. So I would like to introduce today's moderator of webinar, Dr. Ajay Deshpande, who is having more than 20 years of experience, and he has worked in various capacities like trainee veterinary officer, farm manager to general manager in production as well as technical services. Currently, he is a managing director of Siddhivinayak Poultry Breeding Farm and Hatcheries Pune, and he is a president of Vets in Poultry Association. So now I will hand over session to Dr. Ajay Deshpande to take further proceedings. Thank you so much.
Namaste and good evening all. A lot has happened since the mongering rumors linking COVID-19 with chicken consumption and the lockdown imposed thereafter by Government of India. VIP has arranged 2 webinars so far and tried to cover all the topics from pre-COVID through to all post-COVID period. On behalf of entire VIP team, I sincerely thank all of you for your overwhelming response and support. The beauty of life is while you cannot undo what has happened, you can see it, understand it, learn from it, and change ourselves accordingly. I can understand the pain of all the stakeholders who have gone through this unprecedented situation. Today's webinar is a concluding webinar by the VIP, wherein we are going to interact with the leaders of our industry. On behalf of our team, VIP, I took this privilege to welcome all the leaders on board for this webinar. To start with, our first panelist is Mr. Samir Agrawal. Let me introduce Samir Agrawal in brief. Mr. Samir Agrawal is MD, Shalimar Group of Companies, Kolkata. Shalimar Group, a pioneer in the poultry industry of West Bengal, was established in the year 1968. Initially started with its feed on the brand name of Sona. Almost after 5 decades from its inception, it's now a diversified poultry farm from breeding, integration, processing, and retailing. The group has also diversified into aqua feed, soya processing, and dairy milk processing. So let us all welcome Mr. Samir Agrawal on board.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Deshpande. A very good evening to you and a very warm regards to all the respected panelists.
So, Mr. Samir Agrawal, this is an interactive session. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions on behalf of all entire audience. So, the question goes here.
Yeah.
So, what was going through your mind when poultry got affected due to COVID rumors, and how you planned things in order to come out of the situation?
Poultry was actually one of the first industries I feel to be hit by COVID. The rumors were all over social media and our industry just got pulled down, the bird price collapsed, and the customer just disappeared from the market. It was a very agonizing time for being in the industry at that time. And the only thing which was in my mind was continuity of business, although at a reduced level, but the business has to go on. And I was very sure that the bird prices will revive because chicken meat is an essential part of diet and nutrition. The only question was when the bird price will revive. So all my senior team members and I, we kept giving each other a lot of hope and support. We all stood by each other. We were very confident about our inner strength and capabilities, and we took each day as it came and patiently waited things to improve. And thankfully now things are much better, and the recovery is on the way, and we'll be able to see much better times for poultry ahead.
So well said, Samir. So next question is, there are back-to-back calamities, in
Yes.
West Bengal. So
Yes,
there was a storm, Imphan storm was there. So
Yes.
what impact Imphan storm has created in Eastern poultry industry? Can you
Actually,
share?
the cyclone came at a time when the industry was just reviving, and basically this ferocious cyclone, it destroyed 3 poultry districts of West Bengal completely, and the farmers were left without their homes, without their shelter, and of course they lost all of their poultry and poultry farms. So they were totally demoralized. I think the losses would be roughly in the tune of hundreds of crores, if I can put it in figures. And the revival will also take some time because these 3 are very important poultry districts of Bengal. So the loss was definitely financial, but the morale of the farmers was also shaken. The open farmer is now very reluctant to place chicks and do farming because of these back-to-back calamities. But hopefully we'll be able to convince them, motivate them to move forward in the industry.
So that's good one. Then next, as you are one of the biggest integrator in India, and lot of things are happening. So people are talking about the import of chicken legs and all things. So to have one common platform, so because they are using GMO seeds and all those things. So what is your opinion about using of GMO ingredient in poultry production? If you agree to it, or if it is specify why?
So actually this GMO and non-GMO debate, it's a very long drawn debate. The jury is still out on this, frankly. And it has been discussed on various forums that non-GMO crops may adversely affect the human health and the growth of humans as a whole. Now, what I feel is that the 2 principal GMO crops are corn and soya. And basically these 2 crops are also the main raw material for producing poultry feed. And GMO gives an advantage of reduced price and more availability because the productivity per hectare increases. So I feel that availability of both corn and soya is not much of an issue in India, as far as I feel, as well as the cost of production of poultry meat and eggs. That is also at a very good level in India. So my view is that since the poultry, or I would say the protein amino acid profile in non-GMO is much better than the GMO, we can actually continue the way we are and be more efficient in our poultry production to bring down the cost.
Okay, well, so just latest the rumors, what rumors can create havoc that we all experience, So according to you, what measures industry should take to avoid false propaganda in electronic and social media? What do you think?
There are 2 things here actually. One is how do we stop false propaganda and how do we stop the effects of false propaganda? Now, stopping false propaganda when social media has become so interactive and at the mere press of a button, you can actually forward or circulate information to hundreds of thousands of people. It is very difficult to stop false propaganda as such. And maybe the only way we can do that is to take legal recourse to a unified body or association. Now, to counter the effects of false propaganda, I feel that we have to develop faith in the consumers' minds about chicken and about the industry in general. And this faith has to be developed over a period of time. We should not only get together in the times of crisis, as we have seen earlier also, especially during the bird flu times. Things will actually become normal again, maybe in a couple of months or 3 months. But we should continue with our progress so far as customer awareness is concerned. we have to make them aware of all the safety measures that the poultry industry takes at all stages of poultry production, and that we maintain the highest standards of health and hygiene. I was just wondering, it was interesting to note when I discussed with my friends and others that during these COVID-19 times, the use of masks, sanitizers, disinfectants, isolating people, and the entry-exit points have to be disinfected, gloves. All these things are already there in poultry when we talk about our breeding farms, our hatcheries, our feed mills, our poultry processing, all the laboratory facilities. We are already using all this. So we are totally aware of all this. But unfortunately, the consumer doesn't know anything of this. So it has to be a very sustained effort on our part to build this faith in the consumer's minds. If this faith can be built, I think even when false propaganda takes place, it will not impact us in a negative way, the way it has impacted us 2 months back.
So my next question is, do you think this is the right time or opportunity for Indian poultry industry to switch to the processing? If it is so, why? Please specify.
So I feel that processing is a natural progression. Basically, all poultry companies or groups which have a strong back-end infrastructure, they have all diversified, they have all moved ahead to the forward linkages. All big groups have their own processing plants, and they are now wanting to sell chicken directly to the consumer. So it was always the right time, because India is a very populous country. The demand for meat is very high. The buying patterns are changing. Urbanization is taking place. And even at this level of demand and at this level of growth of the poultry industry, the demand for processed poultry is going to increase. So it is always a right time to set up processing plants. And during these COVID-19 times, what I have personally seen, because we are also into retailing of chicken, so what we have personally seen is that the consumer demand has spiked. It has gone up, basically. Now, whether this demand will sustain when times become normal, whether the customer will make this buying shift permanent and will switch to processed poultry, or will shift back to their original way of buying poultry, that remains to be seen. But I'm very confident that a certain percentage of customers will get converted permanently, and processed poultry is only going to rise further. Also, the demand for value-added products like breaded items and cold cuts. So all these things are also rising every day. The customer wants more of convenience, more of hygiene. They want more of accountability, which branded chicken is giving. So because they know with brands, a lot of accountability comes in, a lot of certifications, FSSAI, ISO, all these things also come in. So they are opting for branded chicken. The future seems to be good for branded chicken.
So that's a good one. So what is your suggestion regarding business diversification for long-term sustainable poultry production?
So basically what we feel is that
diversification.
Yeah. So we have to the resources all over the world are getting limited. That's what I feel. And poultry production will also keep on going up. So we need to basically limit the use of resources available at our hands to when we are producing poultry. So we need to look at employing greener methods of production, maybe deriving our electricity through solar techniques. Water is a resource. It is depleting very fast. We are seeing it in the newspapers and in the news that we need to conserve and preserve water. We can go for rainwater harvesting. We can invest in that, and we can also invest in recycling of poultry waste, hatch waste, which is creating a nuisance otherwise also. So we can convert that into proteinous meals or calcium enriched meal, and we can use it in our poultry so that we can make it more sustainable, more efficient, and we can limit the use of resources which are available, which is going to deplete overall. So we have to bring in more technology and more of data research, development, and make it sustainable.
So I would have loved to ask you so many questions, but we have to finish it within 10 minutes. So I will skip some questions. So I would love further to discuss with you regarding so many questions. So last question is, what do you see the future growth of poultry? What is your speculation?
So poultry is going to be a blue chip industry. It is going to be the bluest of blue chips. That is my forecast. And whatever problems we are facing today, see, all this will disappear. All the maligning of poultry industry and of non-vegetarianism, all these things are going to disappear soon. I mean, over a period of time. And I think I can only see bright and bright days ahead. I'm basically an optimist so far as poultry is concerned. And I feel that the best is yet to come.
So now, nice of you, Mr. Samir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Our next speaker is Mr. Vasant Kumar sir. Let me introduce him. He's a very versatile personality. He is Chairman and Managing Director of Quality Poultry Products Private Limited, Meerut, Sangli. He is the President of Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association, Maharashtra State. Then he is a Pan-India convener. He has a very important role in keeping and coordinating all the state associations together. So let me welcome Mr. Vasant Kumar sir on board for the question and answer session. So here goes first question to you, Vasant Kumar sir. Welcome. As a Pan-India convener, how you mobilized everyone during the crisis of COVID-19?
Doctor, I didn't do anything since COVID-19. I didn't do anything because I had a backing of whole my association, Poultry Farmers Breeders Association, and all these office bearers and members. Everybody was in action from the first week of February itself. Before we entered COVID or anything, we were already ready because of the overproduction and our prices were sliding, and we were already geared up to see and do necessary things and to correct the market, how best we can do it. Once we approached the government of Maharashtra and this thing, since WhatsApp message circulated in the news, we the government of this thing, we filed a cybercrime complaint with cybercrime. Immediately we circulated all these things to all other states. Since there was no direction, no this thing, and this was this was an incident. After in my 40 years cycle, I never expected this thing to happen. So we went to cybercrime, we shared with all these things, whatever actions we had taken to have correction measures that were shared by all state associations and all the important breeders, so that they all will also take up in their state. This was a phenomena because bird flu was only in Maharashtra. This time, this problem of overproduction started with Maharashtra, and because of this COVID and all this thing lockdown, it spread all over the country. So it was necessary for all of us to work. But at the same time, as individual CM of every state, all association presidents were to safeguard states, and we all started working in same direction.
Sir, well, there are a lot of expectations from you. People expect a lot from you because you are an all India convener, you know. So what according to you, what should be done to strengthen the pan-India efforts to fight any such crisis that may arise in the future?
I think we had a meeting of Pan-India in February, and we have already formed this thing to make an apex body of all India, taking all this association together and going into approaching the government for anything, representing the whole broad industry of India in one group, and we have formulated that idea, and we will be coming up with within a month or so. We will come up with our apex body formation, and then we will approach all associations and all stakeholders in the business, in the poultry farming. And first of all, we should be united. For that, everybody should cooperate. Then only this can happen.
Well, my next question is, due to recent labor migration, you know, there are a lot of laborers have migrated to northern part of India. So there will be a huge shortage of the laborers in this part of the country. So how do you suggest, how industry should tackle this issue? Can you throw some light on this one?
First of all our production should be restricted to 40 to 50% only. Since Horeca is closed, you don't have, your hotels are not open, institutions are not open, schools are not open. we have to maintain 50%. So automatically your labor requirement is reduced by 50%. You will definitely manage, you can manage with the existing whatever staff with reduced production, we should manage. And yes, we have to make something, and whatever migrated labor, they cannot settle in UP, Bihar, Rajasthan. Why they are coming here? Because there was no job opportunity for them. And now also government cannot create any job and do anything. They have to come back. Only time is the question. Maybe down the line, 3 months, 6 months. Already I got some news. So some labor want to come back. How do we bring in? The news is coming in, but still it will take some time. We also should go methodically so that our productions will not be overproduction, and we should be able to liquidate our stocks at a decent price, and then try to bring it. Those labor will come back, which he will forget. Like our consumer, he will forget in next 3 months. He will not come immediately. He will take 3 to 4 months or 6 months. Then definitely that labor is going to come back, and we will sort out this problem. It should not be a problem for the industry. And
So, sir, message is conveyed.
Reduced capacity, we should manage that all, this thing.
So the message is loud and clear. Reduce the capacity
Yeah.
to your 50%.
Yeah, already lot of people have done.
Okay. Yeah.
And our state is the first one to do that at the rate of 45%. We have already done in the last 2 months. That results are we are seeing the results. Same thing is repeated all over. Either forcibly or voluntarily, it has been done already.
So here is my next question, sir. Do you think these native or desi birds, that farming is getting popular in Maharashtra and central region? And is it commercially viable? It has got scope or not? Can you throw some light on this one?
Yes. I shared this thing because all feed manufacturers are producing feed for desi birds. That sector is growing slowly but steadily. But their realization is much more than this thing. And even we have an example in Konkan. One lady made lakhs of rupees in this COVID scenario because broilers were not accepted, desi birds were accepted. And already there is a to the tune of 10 to 15 lakhs. Placement is there in Maharashtra, and hatcheries is also coming up. That industry is also growing. But considering the volume of broiler to this thing, it is a small sector, niche market. Definitely that will be there. It is going to be there. In Madhya Pradesh also they are strong. Both states will have this desi bird issue on a continuous basis.
Oh, that's well. Sir, next question is, what do you think, sincerely, what do you think, vets in poultry and other like-minded associations can
Hello.
Hello?
Have you completed? Sorry, I couldn't hear your question, doctor. Can you repeat it? Hello.
Yeah, please. Sir, what do you think vets in poultry, that's our association, and other like-minded associations can help you in your efforts to represent industry on various fronts, from chicken and egg consumption to government level awareness on various issues?
I think we have to divide this question into 2 portions. First one, now all pharma people and feed people, everybody is supporting us in different level. Whenever we approach them, whenever they are with us, they are already there. And we have to strengthen this thing. That action VIP can also join the band and try to do improve this thing promotion. As Samir was telling, we should not go to the consumer when there is a crisis. We should have some plan. We should go to the consumer in advance. We should strengthen our customer relation stronger, and our customer is sure of our quality. Then no fake news, no this thing may disturb him. We have to build up that. I think we are trying since last 4 to 5 years through radio jingles and lot of advertisements for day. That activity has to continue state-wise all over. Wherever it is necessary, we have to pump in, we have to plan for that and do it. Second portion, government. See, any government, I have also worked in within CLAPMA as a past chairman. I know what is the Krishi Bhavan's tendency. They have a CLAPMA has got a role there. Definitely, they recognize the CLAPMA. Like that, our poultry association should go in as one. They should not be split one. If we go, 5 people go with 5 memorandums, then the minister will get confused. We should go with one agenda, one memorandum. All associations should be talk on the same line and same page. Then it will be easier. Instead of everybody going into directly to the government, we should formally make this apex body responsible to represent whole of broiler industry in the country as a sector, broiler sector of poultry sector of broiler, and represent to the government in one this thing. That will definitely help. In this, everybody should cooperate, and we can achieve this. That is the idea, one of the idea of Pan-India promotion.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much for your inputs and guidance. So let me welcome our next.
I think there is
Panelist.
one more question. You're slipped off.
No, but because of time constraints, you know. So you have covered
Okay.
entire thing.
Anyway, let me thank VIP for inviting as a panelist, and let me assure the audience that we had to come up with proper planning for promotion and make the product available and good product available with processing facilities, and we should do it definitely in this near future. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Our next panelist is Mr. Jagbir Singh Dal. He is a managing director, Skylark Group. Skylark Hatcheries was established by Mr. Jagbir Singh Dal and Mr. Jasbir Singh Deswal in the year 1985. Today, the Skylark Group is one of the largest poultry producers in India. The operations include grandparent stocks, parent stocks, hatcheries, broiler contract farming, feed production, poultry processing, large-scale mechanized farming, and poultry manufacturing equipments. So let me welcome Mr. Jagbir Singh Dal on board, please. Mr. Jivan, audio is mute, I think so.
Now unmuted.
No, it's not still.
Okay. Now it's okay?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Welcome, sir.
Okay. Now, welcome everybody. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
When you start with question?
Yeah, this is the first question for you is, what was going through your mind when poultry got affected due to COVID-19?
Actually, it was my first experience such type of disaster. I have seen many up and down in the poultry industry, many times, bird flu or something. But this time the experience is totally different. Because the demand was zero for everything. Maybe for chicks, no sale. Broiler, no sale. And feed is almost, after that it is also gone. And I think everything is no sale at that time. And it is very, I can say that it is very disaster for the poultry industry. And almost this working capital, whole working capital, like for the livestock, whole working capital regarding particularly for broiler, it is gone. And it is also lost for the whole type of industry, for egg industry and broiler industry, even feed industry also, because feed also depend on the like broiler farmers. Everything is dealing with those. And it was like a disaster. In my mind, it is like, I think at that time, when this rumor start, and the problem start from the rumor, not from the like lockdown. Maybe I think 1 month before the lockdown. And at that time, it was as per my thinking at that time, it will recover not less than 3 months. So that's we feel at that time, and we do accordingly our business. We make that it is three months, take 3 months time, and we start the business like slow down and everything activity from that time, not from the lockdown period. They reduce the pen stock and reduce the broiler like replacement, and everything done started from that like time. Is my like at the time.
So means the industry, the means realization actually started down in the mid of January. So do you think, sir, that this is because of overproduction in broilers and layer section both? What
Earlier,
is your opinion?
definitely, yes, yeah. Earlier, definitely, it was due to overproduction. When it started before the coronavirus, like this rumor, everything is like overproduction due to overproduction, 100%. And after that, when the rumor started, and then definitely demand goes down. It's not concerned with the overproduction. That is overproduction, but that is like other reason, maybe no demand like that. That is not like this rumor and corona is different situation. Actually, earlier it was due to the overproduction. Earlier loss also continues with maybe last 7 8 months, but everything was due to the overproduction, definitely, and overproduction and also overprice, high price of corn and feed ingredients. So that's also one of the reason to like loss of the farmers and hatchery peoples. That's also one of the reason. So
So,
this was yeah.
so in coming days, what do you think as the most challenging will be there in the in the future of
Uh,
poultry industry?
yes, it will be challengeable. It will be challenging because the demand will not come like as like 100% as earlier. When this was maybe in December or January, when it before that is start of corona effect, at that time that level achieve will not be like cannot be achieved in the maybe in 1 year. It's not possible. And demand will not come like again the same level, maybe at least 6 months or something, 6 8 months. I feel that demand will not generate more than 70%, up to about 7 6 up to December. We think like this, and because of the corona, and corona will not recover properly, and also remain that effect on the mind of the people, and demand will not come out same as earlier. Maybe at least we think that at December it will not come again. About 70% may come to December. We hope that.
My next question is, sir, earlier the UP and Bihar, the states like UP and Bihar were dependent on
Yeah.
other states. So now they are getting self-sufficient. So what do
Yeah,
you say
it's
regarding
going.
this one?
It is increasing. Production are increasing of the two three states. Sorry, 2 3 this state, but still it is not like self-sufficient. But regarding the broiler like requirement, they are about you can say 80% UP is like self like self this not dependent, independent. And on the chicks it is always chicks always today also depend on the like market regarding the chicks. But in the chicken less, and egg also less, not so much required. About egg is requirement is fulfilled by about you can say 60 50 60%, but not wholly. You cannot say that it is like wholly self-sufficient 100%, no. And we are also same position.
So the next question is, because your expertise in mechanical farming and manufacturing the poultry equipments and all those things, what do you feel? What do you promote? Open farming, or you suggest environmentally controlled sheds?
We recommend environmental sets only where the temperature climate condition is very high temperature and very low temperature. We recommend in that region. Definitely it is very highly successful and beneficial for the poultry, maybe layer, maybe broiler. But where the climate is okay, good climate, not like so much up and down, not like temperature go below like 13 or 14 degree less, and don't increase more than 40 degree. So I think that there is open house is also not so bad. It's also not like much difference in the open houses and closed houses. But where like in North India, we have very high temperature, we need the like closed house is very important for the parents, for the layers, even for the brothers. Yeah, for everything. Yeah,
So,
that's our recommendation is. Generally, we have the data for like many years for closed house and open houses. So definitely is a difference, but difference is not like good season. Good season sometimes better the open houses because the good ventilation, ample is good. Like in the month of September, if you place in the month of September, the best result in a year, and it is due to good temperature and even better than the closed houses in the September month. But if you go for the winter, like suppose in December and January, the temperature is like 5-6 degree. At that time, the closed houses are better because better control of temperature and everything. Again, in the warm season, in the very high temperature after April or mid of April, then definitely the closed house are better because good temperature control and less stress and less disease also. Also that contribute this stress also contribute the diseases the flow. That's also under control, remain under control in the like peak. Otherwise, in the good temperature, there is not much difference. Even sometimes better result in the closed open houses.
so it means that it's economical and beneficial also. The investment or if you consider an investment.
Economical electric cost is more than you have to run on the generator sometime. If you manage electricity basically today we prefer that we should have this like solar energy. You should use the solar energy as well if you have the closed houses. That's also important for us because we want to save the energy at the farms. So that's also important. And for the layer, we recommend the like biogas system that you can run the generator or something, and then you can save like energy by biogas also. We are running the generator in with the biogas on all the farmers, on the farms. So
That's
then biogas is also very good like source of energy. One is like you can eliminate this like smell and flies and something, and again that you can produce the energy and you can produce the manure also. Then we recommend this. It should be if the layer houses, breeder houses, if they want to have the closed houses, and they need to take the litter out and put have the this biogas system. Only biogas system with the help of biogas system with something solar energy, then you can save the electric energy of
that's
the
a
layer
great
house.
input, sir. Those are the great inputs. Thank you. My next question is,
Yeah.
what according to you, how should all work together to improve per capita consumption of chicken and eggs? Your opinion,
So
please.
the only way is advertisement. We should have like the collectively we should have this like work with the media and we should try to like advertise our products and for poultry and eggs we should have some advertisement regularly. But definitely that gives some result. Yeah. This is the only way that we should join and we should like increase our like awareness of the people, better what is the quality because people don't know about the chicken here in India. Not much about the egg also. Some rumor is come and everybody left the chicken not good, not good. So that's very important to the awareness in the society, awareness in the government also. Because in the government also we are not so much recognized how the we are important. But so that we should do that. Yeah, collectively everybody we should work for that. That's very important also.
So
Not only production.
what do you feel about the export opportunity? Whether we should explore that one?
Export chicken is not possible, I think. Chicken export, we can export in some country because of the bird flu. Sometimes come again and again bird flu every year declaration of bird flu. And business don't start like this. If we once we get a customer and we start and then again stop, then start and again they stop. It's not possible. Only that if you want to import, we want to import our country want to import chicken, only processed chicken because there is no ban on the bird flu or nothing. So we need to put like our further processes or processed chicken. Then only further process we can export. That is only we should think, and we should think that we should like export only further processed chicken. This is the only way to continuity in the market and to have a good market at the outside world. This is the only thing. And eggs generally fresh eggs is like already people are exporting and little bit they can export, but egg powder is better solution for that also.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, doctor.
Our next panelist is Dr. Sushanta Rai. He is a veterinary graduate from Bangalore Veterinary College. He is a first generation entrepreneur having 2 decades of experience in poultry breeding and commercial broiler farming. Presently, he is the president of Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Welfare Association. He is a managing director, Raison's Nutrition, and is based at Bangalore. So let me welcome Mr. Dr. Sushanta Rai on board, please.
Thank you, sir.
So straight away, the first question to you: what was going through your mind? The same question during this, because you are entrepreneur yourself. So what was the first thing that came to your mind? Because our theme of our webinar is when there was no tomorrow. The day was there that we were feared that whether we will be able to see tomorrow or not. So what first came to your mind? Can you please?
There was a fear in our mind when first the WhatsApp message and social media messages came. But initially we thought we'll just ignore this and leave it to die. But since the consumer took it very seriously, then from the association we started planning media prints, radio jingles and radio conversation with experts, and we had several messages through TV just to overcome the fear of the consumer. That helped us a lot in bringing awareness.
So as you are aware that our 70 to 75 cost is incurred on the raw materials and on feed only. So what do you see the raw material scenario in coming days?
I think the rainfall is good. In Karnataka, the maize growing areas and all, the rainfall is good. We should get a good crop of maize from Karnataka. And even the soya, as I've seen, the soya, the rainfall, as I spoke to the US Council of Soybean, Dr. Pawan, he also, he expressed that, even this year, the soya crop should be good since the exports are low and the prices should come down in India.
Okay, well, so my next question is, Karnataka is in limelight, Bangalore particularly, because of this many modern chicken outlets, then online chicken sale. So can you throw some light on that one? Because Karnataka is leading from front in this regard.
There is a lot of change in chicken buying, and because of this trendy chicken shops like Lifeline shops in Bangalore, Nando's, all these people have come out with clean, hygienic shops. So now what happens? The women would like to go and buy chicken from them instead of going to this wet market, the filthy market. They always feel going and buying from these shops is better because it's very clean and hygienically maintained. And not even in Bangalore, even small 2-tier cities like Mangalore and Mysore, we have a better shops like chicken shop. And chicken shops are well placed next to gold shops. People now, they don't say, okay, this is a chicken shop, we don't want an outlet like that. But in Mangalore and Bangalore, they all prefer in better locality. We have all these trendy shops. And what I feel is, in Bangalore, there are a lot of people who have come from the outside Bangalore, from outside the outside states, like because of this software, medical facilities. There are a lot of people who have come and they have traveled abroad. They have seen these trendy shops, so they prefer the same shops. Going and buying there will be easy. And dining out is another option in Bangalore because of all these nuclear families and people working in the software companies.
So, what do you think? Any other efforts? All associations should come together and promote chicken and egg consumption so that the sale will increase. What do you feel?
Yeah, I feel this is what is, we have heard all the speakers say. What we feel, it's only at the time of crisis we come. Bird flu, we come out. Now COVID, we come and say, but once the market improves and everything is forgotten. So the walkathon, VIP has organized 2-3 walkathon. This walkathon has helped a lot. It should be at one day, I feel, it should be one day throughout the country. One day throughout the country we'll organize a walkathon. We'll tell the people, and another thing is we have to educate these consumers all these false rumors. Consumers want chicken, how hygienically we grow chicken, and what negative they speak, we'll have to make it positive. And all TV ads, print ads, this is all there, but this has to be done throughout the country, throughout the year.
So, well, my next question is, what is your opinion and experience about the renewable energy usage in poultry farming activities?
This is a very good option. We have a issue of this smell and the fly nuisance. So having a biogas plant at every unit will help us then. And another thing is the the solar energy, which is cheaper, and it saves a lot of financial. It helps us with the financial conditions.
So you are from one of the biggest per capita consumption of chicken state. So what according to you will be the future and coming days of the industry?
No, the future of the poultry industry will be very good. We have a generation Z, what you call as, we have a young India. The population is young. So people will definitely go for poultry meat. And since it's a very cheap source of protein, throughout the country, the young generation always prefer poultry meat. So there's absolutely no doubt in that. And
so my next important question is, so a lot of young veterinarians and young entrepreneurs are coming to the industry.
Yeah.
What should be the proper way to attract this young talent and retain them in the industry?
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
The veterinarians, I feel they should be paid well. The veterinarian salary should be very good, on par with the government. Now, Karnataka government, the veterinarians in the government service, they're getting about 60 to 80,000 on entry level. And they're giving this one, so they get some practice allowance. So in this industry, poultry industry, people, all the entrepreneurs, they should focus more on giving some facilities and take back from the veterinarian. The veterinarian who's working in the industry, he shouldn't focus only on disease aspect. He should be more focused on management also. He should know how to manage this breeding farm. Because in a breeding farm, it is more than 90% is breeding management, 10% is disease diagnosis. So managing the labor, managing the parent stock, and then the disease. So focus should be more. I feel the salary and other basic facilities should be better in the breeder farm.
Thank you very much for the good insights,
Yeah.
Dr. Sushanta Rai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manoj sir. Thank you.
Let me welcome our next panelist, Dr. S. Rukmangadan. Sir, welcome on board. Let me introduce him in short. A very few people become first-time entrepreneur, and Dr. Rukmangadan is one amongst them. He strives to bridge the gap between lab and land, to sort out the problems of the poultry industry, farmers, students, institutions, and rural economy of the country. He is Coimbatore Management Association member. He is member of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. He was a member of Research Council of Tamil Nadu Veterinary and Animal Sciences. He is a member of Broiler Coordination Committee. It is a Broiler Breeder Coordination Committee or Association from Tamil Nadu. He is a member of Board of Management of Tamil Nadu Veterinary and Animal Sciences University, Tanuvas. He is COVID committee member for sector studies. That is arranged by Tamil Nadu government. So let me welcome Dr. Rukmangadan sir.
Good evening Ajay. Good evening all panelists. Good evening all viewers.
So same question, repeat.
Yes.
What's going on in your mind? Because that is a $1 million question. So everybody wants to know what was going in your mind.
Yes. See, January 30th was the first outbreak in Kerala. So we had the first outbreak in Trichur, where the consumption was actually expected to be very high. So the whole sales in Kerala and Tamil Nadu came to a very low levels. So that was the first news we got. So as Sushant said, we also thought it will be a go affair. But Later on, we thought that the price coming down to very low levels in the month of February and March. So in the February itself, we got totally confused. There was total utter confusion. There was a lot of curiosity, and there was helplessness in the whole farming community. March 21st, they announced the lockdown in state. So the price almost crashed to very low levels. And in the middle of March, like March 18th, it came to almost 10-20 rupees. And there were no takers for the birds. There was total confusion, and we were finding it very difficult how to proceed further in the industry. That was the initial this thing. So when there was total confusion, we were all worried about the arrival of the raw materials. Raw materials was a very big issue because we had a stock of for only 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Having that being a non-season, we were waiting for the season to buy materials. So no one was equipped for the this unexpected disease. So we all tried to source everything from outside. And the more than the disease, the rumors spread by the WhatsApp, social media, Facebook, and other things. It crashed the prices to the lowest level. Even the public did not accept the chicken when it was given free for them. Free also, they said no. So what we said is, we planned this, like, we started going for removing hatching eggs from the machines. So we removed the eggs from the machines, and we were we were planning to remove only for a week, but unofficially we almost removed 2 to 3 weeks of eggs from the machines, and there was a wide parent culling. But that also was not, we are not able to sell the parent because there was no acceptance. So that also created a lot of problems. In the meantime, we approached the government of Tamil Nadu. Because of the rumors, the prices came down drastically. So we approached the Tamil Nadu Animal Husbandry Minister. Then we approached the Health Minister of Tamil Nadu, and we approached the CM. They all were very cordial, and they understood our problems. Then slowly the curtain was removed. Slowly confusion started getting clear that livestock needs raw material, they need movement, and so we were all given special permission to move our vehicles, reach the farms with the feed, reach the farms with the chicks and everything. That all came up. So in the meantime, we approached the DIG of Police Intelligence, Cybercrime, and launched the complaint against a couple of people who were spreading rumors. And more than 11 people were arrested in Tamil Nadu and Kerala totally. So that helped us in creating a little better atmosphere, and government came out with all positive steps, like they said chicken is safe to consume, and it has a good protein, and it gives you immunity. Slowly people started understanding. That was the initial confusion was there for almost like fortnight. We were with a blindfolded.
That really a great action and initiative. So thanks. Going to next question, sir. Sorry. So the southern part of country, our country has a power to regulate the broiler prices.
Yes.
Because they are the largest consumer. Per capita consumption is more in those states.
Yeah.
So why the consumption per capita consumption is more in the southern part of India? Your opinion on this?
Yeah, this is like I'll have to mention something about our BCC, Broiler Coordination Committee. This came into existence in the year of 1994. So the integration concept actually started from, in fact, from Coimbatore only. We only started the integration concept in whole of India. So it was started in the year of 1990. So 94 we came out with BCC to have a better pricing of the end product. Farmers were finding it difficult to sell their product. So we came out with the pricing. So we all joined together to bring a common platform so that the poultry prices are fixed, and we publish the prices in the paper. So this enabled almost like every rural place also we reached that there is something like broiler chicken. So that helped us very much. And the eastern belt, usually if you take eastern belt of the southern side, the Kerala, the Tamil Nadu, and further Andhra and other places, all places there are more of non-vegetarians are there. So it was easy for us to penetrate into their this thing, rural and availability. We made sure the availability of chicken in all places, rural places, the availability we made it very possible, and that helped us in increasing the consumption to this great level.
That's great. So my next question is, because this COVID-19 or rumors, then bird flu, it erodes the capital of our capital, working capital very fast. So do you think in future, whether this capital, the one who puts in more capital, will govern the industry? Will it the capitalism?
Yes, in a way, yes, it is, yes, because you need more capital. When you have capital, you can afford to lose something, and you can be back very fast. See, because this involves huge capital requirement. Like if you have 3 months of your raw material stock, which is a very huge money, nothing like that. You can be safe. Whatever happens, you can afford to lose because it's your money. When capital is from the banks or borrowed, everything is from borrowed money, you need to think twice before expansion and other things. So capital is very much required, but to certain extent only 50 to 60% should be from borrowing. Otherwise you have to have your own capital. That will be very helpful.
Well, sir, yourself is a veterinarian. I am a veterinarian. Many are entrepreneurs here, the panelists. So everybody knows that we literally don't use any steroids, hormones in our broiler production.
Yeah.
So how some producers, they still claim that it is antibiotic free, it is hormone free. So what do you say on that?
Yeah, it's very insane from our part, our industry people, to hear that some people are even advertising that their chicken is free from hormones, free from steroids and other things. This goes to imply indirectly to the public that other people are using it. So when there is no chance of using hormones or steroids, it should not be a publishing and it should not be a advertising material by any of our poultry people. Our own industry, even in Tamil Nadu, a couple of people are using it. I understand some people are using it in Maharashtra. Those wordings has to be removed, and industry people have to approach them and explain to them this is not a healthy competition. It is not a healthy competition to use that our chicken is free from hormone or it is free from steroids. So that usage has to be removed.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. It's a clear and loud message to all who are concerned. Okay. Thank you very much, Rukmanda sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
So our next panelist is none other than my boss, Dr. Ranjit Reddy. Welcome, Ranjit sir, boss. So he needs no introduction. I call him boss, boss of all. He is member of parliament from Chevla constituency, Telangana state, and a face of poultry industry in the parliament. Is a ray of hope for all the industries, all the entrepreneurs. He is MD, SR Hatcheries. He is president of Telangana Poultry Breeders Association. Then most important is his advisor to our VIP. That's important.
Enough, yeah. Let us come to the point.
An inspiration and role model of many veterinarians and entrepreneurs. Welcome, Ranjit sir. Boss.
Namaskar, each one of you. I am holding my iPad. I cannot really put namaskars to each one of you.
So, lot many questions and many people are expecting answer from you. So, it is said that we should not question but the boss. still, I am daring to question you. Few questions are for you, sir. So,
Yeah, please.
what is government policy makers' perception about overall perception about the industry, our industry?
When I was part of the industry, I never felt that the government has so much of concern for this industry. Having come onto the other side, when I look into it at the state level or at the center level, the way the government has an understanding about all the industries, and especially the two ministers who are there at the helm of affairs at the Animal Husbandry in Delhi, they have a perfect knowledge about the poultry. They know what is happening in the industry right from the grassroots level to the corporate level. So all these days, even I had a consumptions anticipating that the government does not understand what industry needs it and what are we looking for. But having looked at the center at the Delhi and at my, especially at my state level, the chief minister understands how many birds are there for to market also. What is the quantity of maize which is required? That is a fine understanding what the politicians have. So we should never undermine or underestimate the politicians or the decision makers or the bureaucrats also. We should only try to see that there should not be any communication gap between the government and the industry, whatever industry it may be.
So it means they understood the role of poultry industry in doubling farmers' income 2022.
Definitely, yeah. That is what I say is, if the government, why are they looking to double the income of all the farmers, not only the poultry farmers? Because as long as the farmer is happy, no government can be happy. So when they look into the doubling the poultry income, so when I was talking to the Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, or the Environment Minister, Mr. Giriraj Singh also, they always suggest that whenever there is a crisis, industry goes to them. That is the experience what they have. So finally, we have resolved saying that before the crisis only we should step in, talk to the government. The other day, Mr. Giriraj Singh sir has told me saying that before the crisis of the maize demand supply gap is there, we should go to the Commerce Ministry, get it cleared, anticipating that there will be a short supply during August. That is how they were planning, and they say they'll priority they are going to give us the permit letters to import quantity of maize, and it only depends on the QOT.
That's great, sir. My next question is: lot of misinformation is being spread by many who are against the poultry. So, how industry can take help of the government to stop permanently such issues? And
Ajay, what is happening? Though I am sitting in the opposition benches, I still strongly vote saying that is not what is happening at the center or at the state. The other day, my chief minister has held a press conference saying that chicken does not have any link with the COVID, and he was the first chief minister to address the press, asking people to eat eggs and chicken every day. And when it comes to the center, also they have already released advertisement saying that COVID is no way connected to the chicken.
but still they appear in the paper. What to do?
It happens from the government side. Whatever they could do, they have done it. It is not an easy thing for someone to release an advertisement or for someone to address a press conference. People say that they might have had some vested interest. That is why they have addressed the press conference. Why, Sanaya?
Okay. So my next question is: lot of people have lost their working capital totally. You are aware of that. You are part of the industry. So while announcing this package, relief package, government haven't considered poultry at all. So what could be the reason and how we should convince government?
Honestly, again, we have tried our level best. We had a meeting with both the finance minister from center and the state, and we had a meeting in presence of the Honorable Vice President also. And both the Animal Husbandry state and central minister have tried their level best. But for some reason, it could not happen. But the other day, what the latest update is, the 3 lakh crores which is there for MSMEs, poultry is going to be considered under that. And as you all know, the 25 crores limit for 100 crores turnover is extended to 50 crores for 250 crores. So in that, the Canara Bank and IOB have already cleared them. So next thing is, the other day the finance minister also addressed saying that there will not be any cap for that. Let it be 25 or 50 crores also. Yes, some good news is coming, because Canara Bank, just today I got the news that they have converting 30% of the working capital to WCTL. So that even IOB also has cleared it. Yeah. Indian Overseas Bank also has cleared it. Okay. So, what do you feel how industry work in tandem with the government? It should be always in good and bad times. As I was talking to Samir just now, what I say is industry always should plan things ahead. It is not that whenever we have problems, we should have a web call or group conference calls, or we have to meet. That is not going to solve the problems. Having had so many experiences for so many years, again we do the same mistakes, especially in the poultry industry. We never sit whenever the industry is good. We can sit only during Poultry India times. I don't understand. During the Poultry India times, we can as well resolve so many things. But everyone will be interested and focused on their own business activities, on their own stalls. Okay. The way we have the technical seminar for one full day, I think the industrialists have to sit with the government officials for a full day along with the bureaucrats also. Okay, well noted, sir. My next question is, a lot has been talked and many times we'll talk about the export. Just I asked one question to Dalsab sir. So the zoning is the main issue, main constraint for that one. So what is the status of this zoning? Because if government zones it in different... Ajay, all these problems are discussed at length with the ministers. The minister has already given clear indications that zoning has to happen, and it is going to happen also. So that is good news. Thank you very much, sir, for giving your time and showering love on us. Thank you very much. Good luck to each one of you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye. So, okay. Now I hand over to my guru, Dr. Ajit Ranade, sir, to continue further. We will sum up all the interaction and we'll continue. Thank you. Yes,
Jeevan, I think we need to unmute the mic of Ranade, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Ajay. And now the question and answer session begins. But I was told that Dr. Ranjit Reddy Garu has some meeting at 6:30. So, sir, if you permit, let me take one or two questions which are specifically pertaining to you, so that you will be a little bit free. Basically, the question is that under your leadership, is it possible, Ranjit Reddy Garu, under your leadership, is it possible to form a common association which would deal with poultry? Let it be feed, solvent extraction, breeders. There are too many associations, both, all of them.
Professor, sir, what has happened is, we had a discussion, all the corporate sector representatives were there with the Honorable Minister. After that, I was talking to Mr. Giriraj Singh sir and Dr. Sanjeev Balian also, and I requested them to constitute a poultry board of the country. For that, in principle, they have already agreed. Now we have to go with a request asking them to form the board, and we can as well go with the proposal of the representatives from the industry side also. Great.
That would be great. That would, help us, to come together and address the issues before the crisis strikes. One more question for you. It's very important pertaining to the deciding of minimum price. What does the government feel about deciding the minimum price? Maybe at fortnightly interval. So stop loss concept basically. So to have that stop loss concept.
No. We cannot really request this, because for any perishable items, let it be chicken, eggs, or even the vegetables also, the government cannot really come in for the rescue of these perishable items. The only thing what has happened is we have requested the Honorable Chief Minister of Telangana to allocate certain funds to look into the markets whenever there is a crisis. So in the last budget, my Honorable Chief Minister has allocated 100 crores for that, and now he has increased it to 250 crores. So we can as well request the central government also to allocate certain funds with which we can definitely buy whatever the item is, let it be eggs or chicken during the lean time, store them and definitely sell in a good market.
Okay, very good. Great. Last question for you. I know you are in a hurry. For banning or for stopping these fake propaganda and fake news about poultry sector, does the government has any concrete plan which can be executed, or what is your advice to us basically how to stop this anti-chicken or anti-egg propaganda from people?
So the government cannot really do anything, sir, because the social media is so active. As Mr. Vasant Kumar has rightly said, we should lodge a complaint wherever it starts. If you can arrest at the initial stage only, we can really resolve the issues. And that is a social responsibility of all of us. And the vets, I really appreciate they are doing a very good job as far as that is concerned. Everyone has to get up and pull up our socks during that crisis.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ranjit Reddy Garu. It was so nice of having you in this particular webinar. I know you are having very less time for us. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you all the doctors. Thank you. Right, Samir. Right.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjit Reddy Garu. Now let us take some of the other questions, which I have pointed out. We have time, say about 17 minutes to go. And let's take some of the questions very briefly. One question common to everybody, especially Vasant Kumar Saab and maybe for everybody, this fake news, the question which I asked Ranjit Reddy Garu, which is affecting business, why not take a legal action when there is a IPL 152 which is available to curb such kind of nonsense?
You want me to answer, Doctor?
Anybody? Yeah, you start.
I think I told you the opposite lobby is too strong lobby for any one association or any one organization to fight out. So we had to go systematically. Now, latest whatever in Times of India, PETA has put an advertisement. Now we are taking up that issue. We are filing a complaint in Standard Advertisement Council, and then we will be requesting all other states also to lodge the complaint. Then we will start this thing. But legal fight with that company, as you know, you were the witness in when they came with the panel of advocates in Delhi. So they have a very strong this thing, and their funding is very strong base. So we have to generate. That's why we are proposing this Pan India, which will take up the promotion as well as fighting cases like this whenever there is a necessary and wherever we can do it. That's what I feel. I think if all association cooperate, definitely we'll take up. Now Karnataka Association is giving us a lot of help in doing all these things, and we will definitely try to continue that and take this thing forward. Thank you.
Thank you. This one is for Mr. Samir Agarwal. Can I have Samir Agarwal on line, please?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Samir, what will be the next challenge for poultry according to you? This is a question from Mr. Vijay Swami for you specifically.
I personally
we
feel
hope that there should not be any more challenge as such, but then in your opinion, what would be the next challenge?
I think the next challenge is going to be I'll internalize the problem basically. It will have to do with something that we'll only inflict it upon ourselves. That is overproduction. I think that is a challenge that we keep on facing every year or every now and then. And see, these rumors will die down, frankly speaking. So the only way that the industry will again get into a big negative is if we again start overproducing. So that is going to be the next challenge that I feel. Because the chicken is getting produced more efficiently every day. And the demand-supply gap, if again there is a negative demand-supply gap created with overproduction, oversupply, it is going to be very detrimental for the poultry.
Right, very correct. Now, with this all scenario, with all this background of, for years together, some problem or the other, and recently, consecutively, the problems have been striking the sector. Do you think the new players will come in the industry? And if they come, how they should behave, what they should do?
So I frankly feel it is very difficult for new players to enter the poultry industry because it is a very integrated industry. One, it is a grassroots level industry with a lot of interaction with the farmers. And I, in my last two and a half decades of business, I have not seen many players entering this industry. It is still a very, what do I say? It is a very novel industry for people. They are always intrigued by how poultry is done, how chicken is produced, how an egg is produced. Whatever I interact with people, they have just no idea about what our industry is like actually. It is still an enigma, if I can say. So not many players are going to enter into the industry. It is more about the existing players who are there in the industry. We have to be more disciplined. We are loving this supply-demand gap right now. The demand is higher than the supply presently. So we are loving the gap. We are getting a very good price. And as everybody in the panel has said, that if we control the production, we are at 70-80%, then we'll be in a better shape, basically. I don't foresee any people entering the industry in the near future.
Yeah, very correct, very correct. One last question to you, Samir. There is one viewer from overseas, all the way from Germany, and a very curious question he is asking: how long it will take for our country to recover from all this stuff that is happening around?
I wish I could answer that. I don't think anybody can answer to that.
Yeah, but it's a curious question because people overseas are worried how much it would take. Anyway, in due course,
read in the papers or what I follow in the news, that is my only source of information, frankly. I have no evidence to back that. I think people are talking about September or October now. So hopefully everything will flatten and hopefully there will be no second wave as many people are predicting. So we can just hope for the best. What will happen?
September or October, maybe. Yes. There are some specific questions, but then let me go on to Sushant Rai. And the question for you is, because of all this scenario, do you think that really the packaged chicken business will increase the way it has started increasing in Bangalore? And can it help in fluctuating the broiler rate fluctuations? Sushant Rai? Yeah, please.
Yeah, sir, can you get back? Can you repeat the question, sir, please?
I'll repeat the question. No, because of all this COVID-19 scenario, everybody is saying that the processing industry will really, get the initiative or the momentum. Do you think that the fluctuation in the market prices will reduce once we start package industry or packaging chicken sale?
Yeah, but once again, it may go on a demand and supply, sir. But definitely, the processed chicken will have a better market post-COVID. I say because people will definitely looking for a more hygienic chicken which is processed from the processed chickens. I feel definitely the price will be better for processed chicken.
Okay.
Dr. Rade, can I add here?
Yeah, please, sure.
I feel that now consumer will be very consistent in looking into the quality of chicken he is going to buy. Now, as one of my fellow association fellows said, our industry, poultry farming doesn't have a face in the industry. Our shops and this thing should come as shops in Bangalore or in Nasik or in Bombay. Shops should come with a good ambience. Definitely, consumer is going to demand the quality here afterwards because consumer is worried for his life. So definitely he will demand, and we all have to look into that and improve our the shops and shop hygiene and ambience. That will definitely help, and consumer will definitely support us.
Yeah, Dr. Sushant, one more question for you, please. It is said that because of this tension between China and USA, there is going to be increase in the export of soybean, and that would, lead to decline in the availability of soybean in our country, and the prices will go up. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, if there is an export, definitely the prices will go up. But as of now, the exports are very weak.
Okay.
We
have Dr. Utmanandan from Tamil Nadu. One specific question for you, because Tamil Nadu is known to be, a layer industry. what would you know expect for next 6 months will happen to the layer industry, especially in Tamil Nadu?
Layer industry.
Yep.
Yeah, see, as such, there is because of the corona effect, the people have reduced their production either through molting and other things. So at present, there is a demand for eggs. 6 months down the line, there shouldn't be a big problem since the raw material prices are helping them. Both the maize and soy prices are low. It will not affect them for the next 6 months. So there is a drop of about 25 to 30% of layer strength in Namakkal. So it should be okay. It should be okay, and farmers should be comfortable for the next 6 months. After that, we'll have to keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. One more interesting question for you, sir. Especially in South, what do you feel? Whether what kind of protein will grow? Whether it's dairy or poultry or fish, which type of protein will grow in South India?
Yeah, naturally, broilers will grow. Broiler acceptance will be more. Already we are having our per capita is far above the national average. We are almost like 8 to 8.9 kilos, 8 to 9 kilos, and whereas the national average is only 4 and this thing. Kerala is still higher. So Kerala, when there is a huge demand for this thing, like their per capita is like 11 plus. It has to move from Tamil Nadu only. So protein as such, chicken will be a big acceptance. Already fish availability is not increasing. It is stable. It is stable, and after the last tsunami itself, the availability of fish and seafood is coming down. Not very encouraging.
Okay.
And the cost wise also, like chicken is cheaper than the fish and cheaper than the mutton also. So chicken will be acceptance.
Right.
Yeah.
Dr. Sushant, one more time I'll have to come to you. Your opinion. People are saying that this year Kharif season, farmers in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh are reluctant to go for maize cropping or maize farming. What is your opinion about that?
As I see Karnataka, the growing area, there are a lot of people have started sowing maize. There's a lot of people who have got into maize cultivation. And I'm not sure of Andhra, but Karnataka, there's a lot of people going into maize.
So it's not true that farmers are reluctant to go for maize, right? It's not true.
Not true. Not true.
Okay. Can I have Mr. Jagbir Singh Dhal, please? Quite a good, interesting questions for you, sir. One or two will take. How are you controlling your production cost, and how are you improving your profits? This is a question which has come from a small integrator in your area. They want to know how are you managing the show right now in this COVID-19 scenario. Mr. Jagbir Singh, please.
Unmute him, sir.
Sir, unmute yourself.
सर जी आपका म्यूट निकाल दीजिए. Yeah.
Now it okay? Okay.
Yeah.
This production cost is in our hand is only this like to reduce the cost of feed, how we can cut down our like HCR, better HCR, number one. Number two is our productivity. How we increase our productivity in other way, like in the breeder level, how we can increase our number of eggs per hand or something. So this is only by way of our this EC houses, and EC houses we have like electric saving everywhere. We have the like solar panels in all our sheds that all are in the EC houses. We have the electric like solar energy, and also that like in layers and these breeders, we have this biogas system, and we run the generators, and we reduce again the electricity cost. So this is one of thing is the electricity reduction of electricity cost. Second is the reduction in the manpower. Manpower only we go for like automation, and we can reduction something in the manpower. And
So you see sheds and automation reducing the working capital is something which is you are doing, right? Okay. That one other another question with respect to working capital. Is the industry getting support from the banks for the working capital in this particular period?
a little bit only the government, like as per government this regulation, RBI regulation, you can get 10% extra like this working capital. And again they declare for 20% for SMSCs, but we are not come in the SMSCs and we are not able to get this 20% extra. Only 10% we are getting the extra this working capital, and only that this delay to deposit the on term loan this all money. This is also one of the second help.
Right.
Ajay sir, I just want to add.
Yep.
Ajay sir, Ranade.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
See, we actually we don't know where we come under, whether we come under agriculture or MSME or small scale. We are not in any of the classifications. So we are actually left out by the in the nomenclature we are not nowhere. So we have to get attached to, even though central government has said it is an agriculture, some of the state government have not accepted or they are not classifying as an agriculture industry. Neither it is MSC. So we find that a very difficult one. We have to take some action on that.
Very correct. When we approach the central government, they say that agriculture is a state subject, so you approach the state government. Some of the state governments have approved poultry sector under agriculture, but majority of the states have not yet done that, and that's the problem.
Yes. Yes.
So one question common to almost everybody. Right now, we can find that in the society, the movement of vegans, is increasing, and maybe that's one of the reasons why there are so many fake news and reports or anti-chicken industry propaganda going on. How to address this issue? Let's start with Rukmanganan, please.
Yep. See, what we did is we have formed a core team. We have in the name of Poultry Federation, PFRC. Mm-hmm. So they now are looking into these type of complaints. They take it up and immediately they find the source and lodge a complaint with the cybercrime people. So immediately, even when we give them a tip off, immediately they catch hold of that particular person who puts a false message in Facebook or in WhatsApp, and he is almost arrested, and we have taken almost like 11 people into custody, and we have a legal team working on this thing. How to take action on those people. So we have recruited some couple of legal people. They also work on those lines, and immediately notices are sent. And even in some of the weekly magazines have given some wrong information, so immediately we approach. So when we take immediate action, they say, yes sir, it has not come to our knowledge, and they started taking action. We have a team to work on that. But for Tamil Nadu, as far as Tamil Nadu broilers are concerned, we have started that. Yeah. Recently, we have started.
Yeah, one more thing which we already have noticed, that the entire get-up of the poultry shops need a makeover, need a change.
Yes.
Many of the people, especially in the south, have started doing it. I would like to address this question to Mr. Jagbir Singh. In the North Indian states, what efforts people or the industry as such is doing, or the big players like you are doing to change the face of the poultry shops with respect to better hygiene, better decorum, better ambience. So that would help, because nowadays that has been of very great importance, as the people are getting attracted only if there is a cleanliness and hygienic measures followed. So whether the industry in the north is doing anything for that?
Or what for you want to know? What? Please
मतलब-
repeat.
No, मतलब जो shops है, the shops should be changed completely. It
Shops
should
of
be,
chicken.
yeah,
Shops
chicken
of
shops,
chicken.
right.
You are
Right,
talking about
right.
shops of chicken. The quality of shops of chicken and hygiene of the shops of chicken.
Right.
I think nothing is done in the north till today. Nothing effort is done. Yeah.
I think we need
Honestly, I told you that nothing is happened.
we need to address that, I believe. Anyway, so it's now 6:30 and we are about to close this particular webinar. I would like to conclude by passing the concluding remarks that we have heard what the experts thought when this COVID-19 problem started, what came to their mind first, how they addressed it, how they have taken hints from everybody, how they all have become together, they all were united, and how they found the way forward to fight this particular scenario, come out of it. We also heard from some of the experts that what next, what do they expect, that what would be the next problem for the sector. Everybody has said that overproduction is the only problem which would again topple the industry down. So one has to remember all these tips from the experts. I, on behalf of myself and the VIP, would like to thank all the panelists who have gathered over here, and they answered the questions from the minds of common people. Now I would hand over to Dr. Prasad Kulkarni for proposing vote of thanks. Prasad, please.
Thank you, Ranade sir. On behalf of VIP Management Committee, I, Dr. Prasad Kulkarni, is taking this opportunity to thank all the contributors of this event. First of all, about the speakers, I thank all today's eminent speakers. Sir, thanks all of you, especially bearing with us for the small practices like a mock run and all. Your time is really important, but again you have contributed with your fabulous experience to guide all the audience. I thank all of them. I thank Samir Agrawal sir. I thank Vashil Kumar sir. I thank Jagbir Singh Dhul sir, Dr. Sushanta Rai sir, Dr. Rukman Gadan sir, and a special thanks to Ranjit Reddy Garu, who out of his all busy schedule has helped us to have this wonderful event. Next to the speakers, I would like to thank all the office bearers of VIP for planning, executing, and conducting this successful event. First of all, I thank President Dr. Ajay Deshpande sir for his versatile role. Sir, you are being here as a president, as a speaker, as a moderator. But more than that, as a committee member, your presence as a motivator has really instrumental in making this event really successful. Here I also take opportunity to thank V.R. Kulkarni sir as a Vice President of VIP. Your precise, timely and instant guidelines are motivating us for such events, sir. I would like to thank a special personality here. Rather than me saying him special, I would really say that VIP is lucky to have him. None other than Dr. Ajit Ranade sir. So rather than speaking anything else, when I talk about, when I think about you, I can just summarize in Gadima's few lines, Jyotine Tejachi Arati. Sir, just your mere presence here helps us to bring the enthusiasm in entire VIP team. You also arouse a sense of responsibility in all management committee members. Thanks for being with us, sir. I take opportunity to thank Dr. Santosh Ire here, who formed this group and now driving principally this series of webinars. I especially thanks efforts of Dr. Jeevan Sonone. Jeevan, we really admire your relentless hard work. Probably what good look of this event we see, there's a huge contribution from your side. We really are thankful for your efforts of making this event successful. I also thank here Dr. C.B. Pathak sir, who has really played a balancing act to control the over-enthusiasm of team and helping methodic conduct of all these webinars. Apart from them, I also thank the contribution from all other management committee members, which includes Dr. Gopal Reddy sir, Dr. Sujit Kulkarni, Dr. Pankaj Tuttewar, Dr. Sachin Patil, including myself, who has made this event so successful. I also thank VIP lifetime members here who drove all other audience to get in touch with, to get benefited of it.
High five. Okay. Vote of thanks.
Apart from this, there are some noticeable indirect contributions, sir. I would really like here to thank Dr. Chittaranjan Bahl sir, Dr. Badal Singh, Dr. Baniprata Methi, Dr. Rais Rajpura, and Dr. Sahib Rao Rathod, who indirectly contributed for success of this event. And friends, last but not least, any idea to be materialized, it is not an idea. The right implementation is very, very important. And this huge task was being handled by our task force team, the VIP task force team. Can you believe 1,000 attendees almost every time, more than 4,000 Facebook likes? Thanks for your massive efforts. I really admire your contribution. This task force team includes Dr. Anju Deshpande ma'am, Dr. Deepashri Jain, Dr. Sanjay Sadhai, Dr. Vinayak Surve, Dr. Shaitan Singh Rathod, Dr. Padmawar sir, Dr. Vishal Surve, Dr. Sachin Badane, Dr. Kapil Sharma, Dr. Pandurang Vaidya, Dr. Chintamani Munj, Dr. Jyoti Kumar Manali, Dr. Vaibhav Bhamre, Dr. Anuj Kumar Singh, Dr. Ashutosh Patil, Dr. Bimal Chaudhary, Dr. Dilip Suradkar, Dr. Rushikesh Jajja, and Dr. Vijay Gadge. Thanks every one of you. Here, I am taking the opportunity to conclude this first series of 3 webinars and looking forward to all of you for the similar contribution from everyone in our upcoming events. A big thank you to all the participants on behalf of VIP Management Committee. Thank you.
Thank you.